H3H3.
How long do we go for?
Hour and a half or so.
There you go. How you doing now?
So I guess that's it.
Boy, you could just feel the awkward tension in that podcast clip, dude. The way they ended that show, it's like when you walk into like a public restroom or something and you can just like, you immediately like just like feel like the filth like enter your face or something. Like the lights are dim, there's like shit on the toilet or something like that. You're just like, dude, I'll hold in. I can wait, alright? I'm not going in here. It was like that, but instead of filth, it was just awkwardness. You like, the moment you enter the room, you can just feel like, maybe I'm being a little too hard on Ethan in that clip there, but that being said, I did play the intro for a reason, and I'm sure you can tell because of the title and the thumbnail. We're talking about a conspiracy theory that's gaining a lot of traction right now due to an overwhelming amount of circumstantial evidence that seems to point that H3 may have gotten Gokanaru's video taken down by complaining about it to Susan. Now, this theory obviously is really far out there. There's circumstantial evidence, and we'll be going through all of it, but at the end of the video, I'm gonna leave you up to your own conclusions on whether this is all like a complete, like, we're jumping way too far in this, or whether there's, you know, some ground to this. As we all know, Gokanaru made a video that was very critical of H3H3. It was about an hour and a half long, 1.4 million views. The video was taken down recently due to a new TOS change. We've gone over this blog before, as we've read through this entire thing on stream and gone over all the new TOS changes, which basically means, you know, on the surface, you know, anti-harassment guidelines might sound like a good thing because you're thinking, okay, well, I don't like harassment. Yeah, sure, get rid of harassment on YouTube. That sounds like a good idea. But when you actually read it, it gets a little more concerning, as it seems like the YouTube is looking to get rid of things that are outside of harassment and would be perfectly fine in, you know, your book or my book or whatever, but on YouTube, no, that's gotta go. That's dangerous content. Going back to H3H3 for a minute, Turkey Tom has compiled a document kind of going over the amount of circumstantial evidence that would say that H3H3 did get Gokanaru's video taken down, and I'll be linking to this a lot. Matter of fact, the pinned comment will be a link to this Google Doc if you want to take a look at it and read it for yourself and kind of see all the evidence for yourself. I'm not gonna read it word for word, obviously, because that would be a terrible idea for a video. But I will be referencing this a lot throughout the video, as it does a good job of compiling everything to really suit the narrative that, yeah, this theory about H3H3 is actually true. One thing that Turkey Tom cites in the document is an example from YouTube's TOS, where YouTube says, here's some examples of content that's not allowed on YouTube. Repeatedly showing pictures of someone and then making statements like, look at this creature's teeth, they're so disgusting, with similar commentary targeting intrinsic attributes throughout the video, which is taken quite, you know, as Turkey Tom mentions, it's taken out of a Leafy's or Colossal's crazy video. Both of these YouTubers, this is not something that they wouldn't say in their videos, or at least they would say if Colossal uploaded, and, you know, Leafy also, if Leafy was still around. It's clear what YouTube's trying to go after. They're trying to go after the commentary YouTubers who are just a little bit too funny, who have just a little bit too much of a sense of humor. That's what they're going after. It's not about harassment or protecting people. It's about catering to the offended. Before we get into the circumstantial evidence, let's play H3H3's past stance on harassment and bullying, which is a little concerning when you play it and then look at all the evidence that he may have gotten Gokanaru's critical video taken down. This is from a rant he made on Leafy's here back in February of 2016. Let's take a listen to what he has to say about harassment and bullying.
And I mean, if you look at Leafy's channel, all he does is make fun of kids and like vulnerable people, like Joey's World Tour. There's no sport in making fun of these people. It's just sad. They don't need to be made fun of. And now that Leafy's channel has blown up, he's sending like millions of like kids to just harass these people. And honestly, it is kind of just turned into bullying. I know we make fun of people, but we do our best to make sure that it's somebody who deserves it or who can take it. You know what I mean?
Very interesting clip, by the way, right? Because you're sitting there, you know, you're watching this, and H3 is very quick to be, you know, oh, that's harassment, that's bullying. You know, we might do that, but we do it better. Right? We're better than Leafy and stuff like that. You might agree with this take, you might not. I see this, you know, on its own, this isn't that bad. But when you couple what we're about to look at, it just doesn't paint a good picture. Kind of, you could argue shows, H3's true colors, that he's might be okay with certain kinds of censorship. So this whole theory started when Keemstar tweeted, most of the videos criticizing you H3H3 productions were when you were 100% messing up about a year ago, have been removed from YouTube and deemed as harassment. My apologies for the grammar here. Keemstar is not the best when composing tweets, but then again, neither am I. Keemstar continues, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you have a meeting with Susan earlier this year? I heard you say this somewhere. And then Keemstar follows up at the bottom, found it, showing a picture of, the boys hanging out with, Susan Wojcicki, the censorous overlord at YouTube. H3, of course, memed the entire situation, wasn't really taking much of it too seriously, which was interesting because Keemstar is making a direct allegation. Now, Keemstar is being a little, going from 0 to 100 real fast there, but it is a valid question. Did you talk to Susan about this video that was taken down? Keemstar continues to kind of, start up some petty beef, bringing up old drama or whatever. And it is petty. We're not going to read through all of this, but Keem doesn't bring back on topic where he says, let's get back on topic. Did you complain to YouTube about videos criticizing you? Ethan says, trust me, it wasn't sarcastic. Notice how he dodges the very simple question. You might say that that's an outrageous question, but it's still a question nonetheless that deserves an answer. Did you or did you not? It's yes or no. I mean, it seems like a very easy question to answer. Keemstar follows it up with, Ethan, did you complain to YouTube about videos criticizing you? 10 tweets later and you still won't address the simple question. And it's true, there were a lot of tweets back and forth when Ethan would meme the situation or dodge the question. And it's kind of funny or whatever, but why won't he answer this very, very simple question? It's a very, no, of course not. That's ridiculous, Keemstar. I mean, it seems very simple how he could, dismiss this entire theory very quickly, but he won't. Why? And again, Ethan, instead of answering this, says, bro, you were losing brain cells with every tweet. Keem says, so you're refusing to answer the question then? Noted. Ethan says, does a baseless, insane conspiracy theory require an answer? You said all videos critical of me were removed. Can you even list one additional video that was taken down about me? Clownstar, tell me how many balls you can juggle at once. Which is funny, but again, he dodges the question. Yeah, he brings up the argument that Keemstar said multiple videos of H3 were taken down, but only showed one example, which is a valid point to make, but he dodges the overall question. Did you talk to YouTube, or did you not? You can see my buddy Nick Diorio in here. He's saying it's a simple question, yes or no. Why won't Ethan say no? This is very weird, and it was very weird to watch this happen on December 11th. This was a week ago, and since then we've seen more evidence pop up. Ethan did a podcast talking about this, and he brought up the video, but he refused to mention Gokanaru's name.
So, okay, and then furthermore, I says, okay, well, what video is this? The death of H3H3 Productions. This video was removed. Now
you might be saying, well, Ethan doesn't know who Gokanaru is. How could he? Yet in a previous podcast, Ethan, you can see in his search history on YouTube, that's shown on stream. Yeah, that's Gokanaru's name right there. So he's well aware of who the guy is. Why doesn't he mention the name? Now that is a small point, I'll give you that, but it is just a little something to add to it. I think this video is the most damning part. Let's take a look at this clip from this podcast.
Yes.
Just real quick, can you just answer the question? I mean, did you ask Susan to take down the video? I don't understand why you can't just answer the question.
That's one of his friends. Like, that's one of his boys from the podcast asking this. And even he himself, he's like, I don't know why you can't answer this, dude. This is a little sketchy. I mean, maybe I'm looking into his voice or whatever, but he seems to be a little, I don't know, buddy. Can you just, answer the question? What does Ethan have to say?
I will answer the question, Dan, when Keemstar tells me how many balls he can juggle at once.
Okay.
Again, dodging the question with a joke. How many times are we going to go through this, Ethan? You're doing nothing. Like, nobody's watching this being like, ha, I got him. Who cares or whatever. People are kind of like, whoa. Why won't you answer the question? Now we're starting to think. Before it was a wild theory to think that Ethan would get a critical video of him taken down, given his stance on fair use. But now all of a sudden, you see Ethan ask a very, very simple question that would be very easy to dismiss, but he just dodges it time and time again. Even when his own guys are asking, when Keemstar's not the one asking the question, his own buddies from the podcast, he's still like, I'll answer it when Keemstar can answer how many balls he juggle. All right, funny joke, Ethan. We get it. Did you talk to Susan, though? Like, that's all we want to know. Did you talk to Susan?
Okay.
Once he answers the question, then I will answer the question. So there you have it.
This is too awkward. I don't know if this is just general awkwardness, because this is a very awkward podcast, at least from the clips that I've watched, but I don't know if that's par for the course or if he's like a little like scared now. He was thrown off guard. He wasn't expecting his own co-host to ask that question.
Where were we? I share the concerns of the community. Yeah.
Okay. You share the concerns of the community. I hope so, Ethan. I'm not out to get Ethan, by the way. This is not me like vengefully going after Ethan or whatever. I mean, I'd prefer, Ethan, remain an ally of fair use. He's been effective in the past. I don't know why he would change his stance now. Could it be because now he's the butt of the jokes? The community that he helped now turned on him and is now making fun of him regularly? Can he not take the heat now? Now he's going to Susan to take videos that are critical of him down? I don't know. But this does not look good, alright? Susan's own blog, where she directly mentions toxic creators like Shane Dawson, James Charles, Collins and Devin Key, Ethan and Gila Klein. Uh-oh. And at the bottom, and they say the online harassment from fellow creators is growing and needs to be addressed. This is not looking good. Did Ethan and Gila send Susan a little tip and be like, hey, you see this video here? You might want to, yank that off the site. I don't want to believe that, but given how Ethan refuses to answer the question and how we have stuff like this that shows up, it doesn't paint a good narrative. It just doesn't look good when you pile it all together. Now look, here's what I think really happened, alright? And this is my personal opinion. And I share my opinion with a Twitter user by the name of Lionhead. He says, I don't think he would specifically ask her to remove that video, but it is possible that it came up in conversation about criticism videos as an example, and got on YouTube's radar as a result. Based on the thumbnail/title, I can see why they take it down once they saw it, which is probably what happened. Ethan most likely may have mentioned the video, in passing conversation without the intent of YouTube taking it down, but by mentioning that to YouTube kind of saw as an invitation of, oh, this video is critical of you? Yeah, we'll go ahead and yank that for you. H3 is still responsible for even doing this in the first place. I mean, why would you mention a video critical of you in relation to harassment policies that are being implemented on the site in the first place? You mentioned a critical video not expecting it to get taken down by YouTube? I mean, that's horribly unresponsible, but at least it shows H3's intention was not to get the video taken down, even if that may have happened. Turkey Tom ends his Google Doc by saying, for someone who used to be heralded as a champion of the YouTube community and claims to not be involved with this at all, it's odd that Ethan doesn't even seem to disagree with YouTube's policy update. If he was really in favor of the community and being anti-censorship, wouldn't he speak out against this, especially considering how he has a direct contact to YouTube, previously met with the CEO, and has millions of followers across all of his platforms? Interesting. Some will say that this evidence is extremely circumstantial, and I would agree with that notion. However, with Ethan opting not to be a champion for small creators and praising YouTube and their decision on a consistent basis, it leaves a number of questions about his loyalty to the community and whether or not he has sacrificed some of his values now that he is at the top. But hey, it's just a theory, a game theory, and that's where I'll leave it at. I think it's likely to assume that H3 probably mentioned this video without the intention of them taking it down. Unfortunately, that's what happened because that's what YouTube is. YouTube's not concerned with protecting the smaller creator and allowing a platform where, uncomfortable videos can be made or questions can be asked without, the removal of such ideas. That's not what YouTube is. But with that being said, I'll leave the opinion up to you. Do you think H3 was involved or not? Leave your opinion down in the comments below. My name's AugieRFC, and a special shout out to my patrons over at patreon.com/AugieRFC. I greatly appreciate the support. We'll be live tonight on the podcast, RFC After Hours at 6:30 p.m. Central. And until then, I'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone.